Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Friday follow-up. Um, I really appreciated the suggestions that you made last week, and there was some very good ones, and I'll work them in through the following Fridays as we proceed. But one that really struck me for a lot of reasons was the comment about what to do when you hit a plateau. Hence the background this week. Had fun with with finding some pictures of famous plateaus. So, and it struck me because I hit plateaus all the time, and I could feel one coming on during this accountability journey that we're on. This is the topic for this Friday. So sit back, relax. This will only take about 3-4 hours to go through. No, just kidding. I've got other stuff I need to get done today. But when you hit a plateau, it's basically saying that during that time period, you're consuming the same number of calories as that you're burning. And we all know the formula that 3,500 calories equals a pound. So if you cut back or you increase your physical activity and you're able to take care of 3,500 calories, a pound should disappear. Should. Because it's not a perfect science. So if you hit a plateau, that's just saying that you are on the right track. It is a great sign to let you know that you're on the right track. When we're losing weight, our metabolic rate will slow down. So your body is constantly making adjustments. What else would explain the fact that somebody gets on the scale and has a slight gain, and they'll say, I did everything right this week, and I still had a gain? It's that's the way it is. It's part of the plateau effect, possibly. You shouldn't change anything. It's just going to show up at some point. It's not, you know, Friday morning at 6 o'clock to the next Friday morning at 6 o'clock. It's going to always fit that perfect equation, as much as I always try to get that into place. So you shouldn't let it discourage you. You probably would use it as a sign to make some subtle changes, but not just do a 180 and try to figure out what exactly went wrong that week, because you're not going to find it, because nothing went wrong. There's other ways to approach this plateau effect, if you will. And I kind of jotted down some thoughts that I've used over the years, and I checked a few sources to make sure that I was on the right track. But remember, we are all different. What might work for me won't work for you. If you've got some questions or anything, you should always check with a nutritionist or your healthcare provider. So again, not a bad thing. You hit a plateau. Things are just like staying stable. Sometimes it might hit you after a 10-pound loss, 20-pound loss. Who knows? Doesn't matter. But there are different things to kind of jumpstart the process. And one of the best ones I kind of chuckle with when I see it is that you can plan a cheat day. Having a quote cheat day may be something that will just jumpstart your progress to losing weight. And there are different things, and I'm going to highlight a few of them, and you'll see why I picked these particular ones to highlight. You can cut back on your carbs. Carbs are always a big issue on my journey, but cutting back on the carbs might be able to do something. You can increase your exercise or physical activity. I did that this week, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. Journaling is extremely important. because as I said, as we lose weight, your metabolic rate is apt to slow down a bit. And if you need to cut back on carbs, or if you need to increase your protein, you need to check something out. You have that record to say, oh, I didn't realize this, but for the past couple of weeks, I've added more protein than I really needed, or I didn't have enough fiber. Fiber is another way you can kind of break the plateau effect. Manage stress. Yeah, this week was a stressful week. And you'll see why I'm mentioning that in a few moments. Avoiding alcohol, and for a variety of reasons. Alcohol are considered empty calories, but also too, you might not realize that drink might have caused you to get some extra snacks or something like that. Not a big issue, but something that maybe you might just want to plug in. Something that I wasn't sure of and didn't realize that could help with the plateau effect is intermittent fasting. And that's kind of like been discussed over time, that people will go on these fasts for like not eating for 12, 14 hours, or just consume their calories in a shorter period of time. And that's fine. But I was thinking at it more of just maybe changing your eating times. I famously said one time, I don't get hungry. I just eat by the clock. Breakfast time, noon time, supper time. I eat by the clock. So that probably can help a bit. And I've tried all these different things over time. I remember a friend in my chapter who was a king at the time. I had hit a plateau, and he says, just do something different. And I go, well, what do you mean? What worked then? Why isn't it working now? He says, you got to trick your body. You got to, fake it out. So one evening, have breakfast instead of your normal salad and protein. Just have a breakfast type thing. Again, just changing things up. Get plenty of sleep. Always a challenge. Be as active as possible. That kind of sets in with increasing your physical activity. Eat vegetables at every meal. That one I never tried. I just thought, well, what vegetable can I introduce at breakfast time? And probably the other one that's probably the most important in all this, and you'll see in a moment, is don't rely on the scale alone. It is just a number. You may have been going through this process for a period of time, and you've actually shed some fat, which is great. That's what we want to do. But at the same time, you might have increased your muscle mass. So then you've basically stayed the same, but you've gotten rid of some fat. Maybe your clothes are fitting a little bit better. Maybe you even feel better. I said that last week, that so far in this accountability journey, that I'm noticing the effects of my clothes, and I feel good, and I just feel better, have a little bit more energy. So those are things that really, really help out. So to the person who suggested talking about plateaus, and to anybody who's had a issue with the plateau effect, embrace it. It's a sign that you are on the right track. If the plateau lasts a while, that means you're not gaining. Yeah, you're not losing, but you're not gaining. And you're able to embrace the success you've had over this time. And you've learned some things. You've learned what your body needs or doesn't need to continue on with this journey. So again, this could be a whole program in itself, and I really don't have the 3 hours to go over this. But any one of those suggestions can be taken apart, put back together, do some more research and reading, talk to a fellow TOPS member about what they're doing. I mean, like, just drinking more water or drinking water or coffee and tea. A little bit of caffeine can have a good effect, but too much caffeine is bad. Again, it always comes back to balance. Balance in our lives to manage stress, sleep, eating at the right time, wrong time, getting the steps in. Again, it's always balanced. Again, nothing new. Everything we know is just wrapped around that. But again, we need to share and talk about this and embrace the plateau as a good sign that you're on the right track. So why I wanted to embrace this topic today is because I could feel some changes going on and try to get a handle on it. And this morning when I weighed in, yep, I had a gain this week, 0.8, a 0.8 gain this week. And I'm not. First, my initial reaction was, darn, what happened? Whoa, wait a minute. Heard that before. But then I started to reflect, and I wrote it down on the calendar, and I looked back at my steps, and I looked back at my week. And yeah, some of the things that I was unable to manage, a little bit more stress this week for various issues. I think I didn't manage my carbs appropriately. I really have to be careful with my carbs. So that is in play. My steps. Remember I told you all that I wanted to get up to 7,000 steps? Didn't do it. Last Saturday, I actually had 16,000 steps. I was working outdoors, and that was great. But for the rest of the week, I just barely got over 5,000. Average 7,000 a day, but the fact that it wasn't spread out uniformly, just the bulk up of steps at the beginning of the week and just kind of coasted the way in light of other things that just kind of got out of control, showed a 0.8 gain. Am I going to worry about it? Nope. Just the way it is. But then let's look at the numbers, the stats. I like looking at numbers, and it'll show you that maybe I'm in a plateau period. Possibly, I'm going to keep an eye on a few things and see what's happening. But looking at the numbers, I think I'm right where I told you I was going to be. There's been 11 weigh-ins, but 10 that I actually calculated if I had a gain or a loss, right? So a total of 21 pounds, 10 weeks, that's a 2 pound a week average. And I said that at the beginning of this accountability journey that we're all together, that's what I tend to settle at when I'm paying attention. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be 2 pounds every week. It just doesn't work that way. And as an example is the second weigh-in after my first weigh-in this year, I had a 7 pound loss. There's no way I'm going to maintain that 7 pound loss every week until I get back to goal. But look what happened over time. Following was 2.4, then 2.6, then I had a gain of 0.2, lost 4. It averaged out to 2 pounds. So when I have a week that I lose more than 2 pounds, I just kind of say, well, that's kind of in the bank because I know I'm going to hit a plateau. I know I'm going to have a gain just because that's the way our bodies are. Again, it's not a perfect science, but it's on track. I am on track. I have my non-scale victories as like this shirt is fitting much better. I've got a new vest that was given to me by the board and I can almost button it now. So there's another non-scale victory on the making. So let's make a date. Let's look at our calendar. And if I continue on this 2 pound a week journey, on average, we'll see how it goes. Theoretically, June 18th, Friday, June 18th, I should hit my goal for cups. So I've written it down in my calendar. I've circled it. And there it is. I'm going to work to that goal. Again, that is down the road. That's well over 3.5 months. It might seem like a long time, but it's going to be here in a blink of an eye, so to speak. But what am I going to do to set a goal between now and then? And if you remember, my challenge was to get back to my pre-COVID weight, which was still way above my goal, but I wanted to get back to that. And right now, I am sitting at just roughly, where was it? Oh, come on, I had it right here. It's 5 pounds, 5 pounds away from my pre-COVID weight. So by the end of March, I hope to get that done. So that's just the goal that I have. But circle on your calendar June 18th, and let's see how this average goes. Am I going to hit a plateau? Probably several. Will I hit it? I hope so. If not, I think I'll be close. And then on the 18th, we'll reset because I will have learned something on the way. So remember, you may not always hit your goals, but you're going to learn something on the way and you adjust. Because this accountability journey, your journey to a healthier lifestyle, is always going to be a series of adjustments and change. Just don't make them drastic. And if you're not sure, reach out to a fellow TOPS member, talk it out, do some research. You can go to Cranes on the website to look for these things. And together, we will go on this journey and we will get to whatever goal we set in our minds. So I hope you have a great weekend. Next week, I'll be in Milwaukee. So next Friday morning, I'm not sure what's going to happen. The hotel doesn't have a scale in the room, so I'll see what I can do about getting a weigh-in to get an accountability check for you. If not, it will show up the following Friday when I get back home. So I look forward to heading out to Milwaukee to headquarters for the board meeting. I've got my plans in place. I'll have friends and fellow top members around me to keep me on track. And we'll see you next Friday. So long, everyone.